My ex's new wife tried to steal my children. Then my daughter's secret journal changed everything. I never thought I'd be here standing in this sterile corridor outside family courtroom 4, my heart hammering against my ribs like it's trying to escape. Through the small window in the door, I can see her sitting there. Rebecca, with her perfect posture and designer outfit that probably cost more than 3 months of my rent. My ex-husband Thomas sits beside her, both of them the picture of affluence and stability. The fluorescent lights above me flicker, casting shadows across the linoleum floor. I pull my secondhand blazer tighter around my shoulders, feeling the frayed thread at the cuff brush against my wrist. The blazer belonged to my sister. Like everything else in my life these days, it's borrowed. Ms. Martinez? My public defender, Gina, appears beside me, clutching a worn leather portfolio. Her eyes are kind but tired. They're ready for us. I nod, swallowing hard. My children, Emma and Tyler, stand near the water fountain, supervised by a court-appointed guardian. Emma, 11, meets my gaze and gives me a small, encouraging smile that breaks my heart. She's too young to be this strong, too young to understand what's happening, but somehow she does. Tyler, only 7, is busying himself with a toy car, making engine noises that echo down the empty hallway. Kids, I call softly. It's time. As we enter the courtroom, Rebecca's eyes find mine. Her gaze is calculating, measuring me like I'm an obstacle to be removed. And in many ways, that's exactly what I am to her, the inconvenient biological mother of the children she wants to claim as her own. The case is simple in her mind. I'm a single mother struggling to make ends meet after Thomas left me for her 3 years ago. I work 2 jobs, live in a small apartment in the less desirable part of town, and sometimes need to leave the kids with my elderly mother when shifts overlap. Rebecca, by contrast, doesn't need to work. She lives with Thomas in a 5-bedroom house with a pool, has a master's degree in child psychology, and volunteers at charity galas. The perfect stepmother versus the failing biological one. What started as occasional comments, "The children need stability, Camilla," or "We're just concerned about their academic progress," escalated 6 months ago when Thomas served me with papers seeking full custody. The reason? Rebecca felt the children would benefit from a more structured, financially secure environment. I knew the truth. Rebecca couldn't have children of her own. My children were her chance at motherhood, and she was willing to use Thomas's money and influence to take them from me. Judge Eleanor Blackwood enters, and we all rise. She's known for being fair but strict, with 30 years on the bench and a reputation for cutting through emotional arguments to focus on facts. I pray she'll see through the facade. We're here today regarding case number 47293, Thomas Harding versus Camilla Martinez, petition for modification of custody arrangement, she says, placing her reading glasses on her nose. I've reviewed the filings. Mr. Peterson, you may present your client's case. Thomas's attorney stands. William Peterson is tall and imposing in an expertly tailored suit, the kind of lawyer I could never afford. Your Honor, my client is seeking full custody of minor children Emma and Tyler Harding, ages 11 and 7, with reasonable visitation rights for their mother. This request is based on significant changes in circumstances that affect the children's well-being. He begins listing my supposed failings. Working too many hours, living in a neighborhood with a higher crime rate, having the children share a bedroom, relying on my mother, who has arthritis, for childcare. Each point lands like a physical blow. Furthermore, Peterson continues, the children's stepmother, Rebecca Harding, holds a master's degree in child psychology and works from home, allowing her to be present for the children at all times. The Hardings can provide private schooling, extracurricular activities, and their own bedrooms in a safe neighborhood with excellent schools. I feel my face grow hot with anger and shame. It all sounds so reasonable when laid out like that. Who wouldn't want their children to have those things? But they're framing it as if love and dedication can be measured in square footage and degrees. When it's Gina's turn to speak, she does her best with the limited time she's had to prepare my case. Ms. Martinez works multiple jobs because Mr. Harding has been inconsistent with child support payments, missing 4 payments in the last year alone. She presents documentation that Thomas's lawyer immediately objects to as irrelevant. Ms. Martinez maintains a loving, stable home for these children, Gina continues. They're thriving academically despite the challenges. Their teachers report they're well-adjusted, and there's a strong bond between Ms. Martinez and both children. The judge listens impassively, occasionally making notes. I can't read her expression. Then Rebecca takes the stand. She's eloquent and measured, speaking about her deep love for my children as if she's known them their entire lives instead of the 3 years she's been with Thomas. I simply want what's best for Emma and Tyler, she says, her voice cracking with perfectly timed emotion. I've come to love them as my own, and it breaks my heart to see them shuttled between homes, especially when their mother's situation is so precarious. The way she says it makes my existence sound like a tragedy, a cautionary tale. When it's my turn to testify, I try to stay calm, but my voice trembles. Your Honor, I love my children more than anything in this world. Yes, I struggle financially. Yes, our apartment is small, but they've never gone hungry, never been neglected, and never doubted they were loved. I describe our nightly reading rituals, the science projects I help with despite my exhaustion, the weekend park trips and library visits that don't cost anything but mean everything. Emma and Tyler don't need luxury, I say. They need consistency, love, and to know their mother didn't give up on them. Rebecca may have more to offer materially, but she can't replace me in their lives. The judge asks me about my work schedule, my childcare arrangements, my plans for the future. I answer honestly, knowing that in this context, honesty might not be enough. And what would you say to the claim that the children's academic and social development would benefit from the resources Mr. Harding and his wife can provide? Judge Blackwood asks. I'd say that development isn't measured only in test scores and soccer teams, Your Honor. It's measured in resilience, empathy, and knowing you're valued for who you are, not what you have. My children learn those lessons every day with me. The hearing continues with testimony from teachers, my mother, and a court-appointed evaluator whose assessment seems frustratingly neutral. Throughout it all, I feel Rebecca's eyes on me, calculating and confident. Finally, the judge calls Emma to her chambers for a private conversation. I watch my daughter walk away, back straight, brown hair falling down her back, and I pray she'll find the words I haven't been able to. 30 minutes later, Judge Blackwood calls a recess until tomorrow. I'll hear from Tyler in the morning, and then make my ruling, she announces, leaving us all in suspense. That night in our apartment, I try to maintain normalcy. We eat spaghetti at our small kitchen table, and I help with homework as if tomorrow won't potentially change everything. After Tyler goes to bed, Emma lingers in the living room. Mom, she says, sitting cross-legged on our worn couch, can I show you something? She pulls out her tablet, a gift from Thomas and Rebecca, and opens a document. I've been keeping a journal. The therapist at school suggested it. She hands it to me hesitantly. I showed this to the judge today. The document is titled 2 Houses, 1 Heart. As I begin to read, tears fill my eyes. People think having 2 houses would be cool, like having double the stuff. But it's not like that. It's like having your heart split in 2 places, and neither one feels completely right anymore. Dad and Rebecca's house is pretty. I have my own room with a canopy bed and a desk for homework. There's always fancy food and new clothes. But there are so many rules. Rebecca times how long I practice piano and checks my homework twice. She makes me redo it if my handwriting isn't perfect. When I cry because I miss Mom, she says I'm being manipulative. Mom's apartment is small, and I share a room with Tyler. Sometimes dinner is just sandwiches or eggs. But Mom asks about my day and really listens. When I'm sad, she sits with me until I feel better. Even if she has work early, she never makes me feel bad about loving Dad. Rebecca told me she's going to be my real mom soon. She said Mom doesn't have time for us anymore. That's why we need to live with them. But that's not true. Mom always has time for us, even when she's tired. Last week, Rebecca went through my backpack and found the Mother's Day card I made for Mom. She tore it up and said I could make a new one for her instead. I didn't tell Mom because I didn't want her to be sad. I don't want to live with Rebecca all the time. She pretends to be nice when other people are watching, but she's different when we're alone. Dad doesn't see it. He just does whatever makes her happy. The journal continues for several pages, detailing small cruelties and manipulations I had no idea about. Emma watching me read, her eyes anxious. Why didn't you tell me? I ask, pulling her close. I didn't want to make things worse, she whispers. Rebecca said if I complained, they'd make sure we never saw you again. That night, I barely sleep. Emma's journal reveals a side of Rebecca I'd suspected but couldn't prove. Someone calculating and manipulative, using my children as pawns in her quest to create the perfect family. But would the judge believe the words of an 11-year-old girl over the polished testimony of a woman with credentials and resources? The next morning, we return to court. Tyler speaks with the judge, and though he's too young to articulate his feelings the way Emma did, he makes it clear he doesn't want to leave me. As we await the judge's decision, Rebecca approaches me in the hallway while Thomas speaks with his lawyer. Her smile is tight, her voice low enough that only I can hear. "You know you're going to lose, don't you?" she says. "Even if we don't get full custody today, we'll keep coming back until we do. Thomas will spend whatever it takes. How long can you keep fighting with your waitress salary?" "As long as I have breath in my body," I reply, meeting her gaze steadily. "They're going to be my children eventually," she continues. "I can give them everything you can't. It's just a matter of time. They'll never be yours, Rebecca. Not in the ways that matter." Her facade cracks just slightly, revealing the anger beneath. We'll see about that. When court reconvenes, Judge Blackwood looks more solemn than before. She adjusts her glasses, reviews her notes, and then addresses the courtroom. Custody cases are among the most difficult this court faces because they involve not just legal standards, but the emotional well-being of children caught between adults who supposedly love them. Her gaze sweeps across all of us. I've reviewed the evidence, spoken with both children, and considered the recommendations of the court evaluator. My heart pounds so loudly I can barely hear her next words. Mr. Harding presents a compelling case regarding financial stability and resources. However, this court doesn't measure parental fitness in dollars and square footage. What concerns me deeply are the behaviors described by Emma Harding in her journal and our private conversation. Behaviors that suggest Mrs. Rebecca Harding has engaged in parental alienation and emotional manipulation of the children. Rebecca's face goes pale. Thomas looks at her in confusion. Furthermore, the judge continues, I find Mr. Harding's inconsistent child support payments troubling, especially given his financial means. It suggests a pattern of using economic leverage to undermine Ms. Martinez's ability to provide for the children. She shuffles her papers. This court finds that it is in the best interest of Emma and Tyler Harding to remain in the primary physical custody of their mother, Camila Martinez. Mr. Harding will maintain his current visitation schedule but will be required to attend co-parenting counseling with Ms. Martinez. Mrs. Rebecca Harding is ordered to attend therapeutic sessions with the children supervised by a court-appointed therapist to address the concerning dynamics reported. Relief floods through me so intensely that I almost miss her final words. Additionally, Mr. Harding is ordered to pay all outstanding child support within 30 days and to increase monthly payments in accordance with the updated schedule provided to counsel. This court will retain jurisdiction and review the case in 6 months. She bangs her gavel. We're adjourned. Thomas looks stunned. Rebecca's carefully constructed mask has completely fallen away, revealing naked fury. She grabs her purse and storms out without a word to anyone, not even Thomas. My children run to me, and I hold them tightly, still not quite believing that we've won. At least for now. Gina squeezes my shoulder. Emma's journal made all the difference, she whispers. The judge told me she's referring Rebecca's behavior to the custody evaluator for further investigation. That evening, our small apartment feels like the safest, warmest place in the world. Tyler insists on making victory sundaes with the ice cream we splurged on, and Emma sits close to me on the couch, as if reassuring herself I'm not going anywhere. Is it really over, Mom? She asks quietly. I don't know, sweetheart. I answer honestly. Rebecca might try again, but what you did, telling the truth even though it was scary, that was incredibly brave. And now the judge knows what's really happening. I was so scared, she admits. Rebecca said no one would believe me over her. That's what people like Rebecca count on, I tell her, brushing her hair back from her face. They think money and appearances matter more than truth. Sometimes they're right, but not today. Later, after the kids are asleep, I sit at our small kitchen table and allow myself to cry. Tears of relief, exhaustion, and lingering fear. Rebecca's words echo in my mind. We'll keep coming back until we win. I know she meant it. This victory may be temporary, but something has shifted inside me. I'm no longer just fighting against losing my children. I'm fighting for their right to be loved without conditions, to be valued for who they are rather than what they represent. Rebecca wanted them as possessions, as proof of her perfect life. To me, they're simply Emma and Tyler. Sometimes messy, sometimes difficult, always mine. The next day, I take a risk and schedule a meeting with Thomas alone. We meet at a coffee shop halfway between our homes. Neutral territory. He looks tired, the confident facade worn thin. Did you know? I ask him directly. About the things Rebecca was saying to Emma? About her tearing up the Mother's Day card? He stares into his untouched coffee. No, I didn't want to believe it when the judge mentioned it. He looks up at me. Camilla, I swear I didn't know. You've been so determined to believe I'm the problem that you couldn't see what was happening right in front of you, I say, not unkindly. The kids love you, Thomas. But they're afraid of disappointing Rebecca, and that's creating a toxic environment. She just wants to be a good mother to them, he says. But the words sound hollow even to him. No, she wants to replace me. There's a difference. He's quiet for a long moment. I don't know what to do, he finally admits. I love her, but if what Emma said is true, start by really listening to your children, I suggest. Not just hearing what you want to hear or what Rebecca tells you they said. Actually listen. When we part, I don't know if anything will change. Thomas has always chosen the path of least resistance, and standing up to Rebecca would be anything but easy. Still, I feel like a small crack has formed in the wall between us. A tiny space where understanding might grow. The following weeks bring unexpected developments. Thomas begins attending the court-mandated co-parenting sessions with genuine effort. Rebecca, on the other hand, grows increasingly distant from the family. She refuses to participate in the therapeutic sessions with the children, then moves out of the house altogether, filing for divorce from Thomas just 3 months after our court hearing. She said if she couldn't have the family she wanted, there was no point, Thomas tells me during a custody exchange. He looks both wounded and relieved. I didn't realize until all this happened how much she was trying to control everything. Me, the kids, our whole life. 6 months later, at the court review, things look very different. Thomas and I present a united co-parenting plan. The children are thriving, no longer caught in a tug of war. Rebecca doesn't even show up for the hearing, having moved to another state to make a fresh start, according to Thomas. As we leave the courthouse, official order in hand, maintaining our joint custody arrangement, I feel something I haven't experienced in years. Peace. Not the absence of struggle. I still work multiple jobs, still live paycheck to paycheck, but the absence of that constant fear that my children might be taken from me. Emma walks beside me, taller now, more confident. Mom, she says as we head to the car, do you think Rebecca ever really loved us? I consider her question carefully. I think she loved the idea of you, of being your mother, of having the perfect family, but loving the real you with all your complications and feelings and needs. I'm not sure she knew how to do that. Emma nods thoughtfully. I'm glad we stayed with you, even if your spaghetti is sometimes mushy. I laugh and put my arm around her shoulders. Hey, I'm getting better. Last time it was only mostly mushy. That night, I add a new entry to my own journal, something I started during the custody battle as a way to process my feelings. Today marks 1 year since Rebecca tried to take my children. 1 year since I stood in that courtroom feeling like everything I valued might be taken away based on my bank account and address. I still struggle. I still worry about money. But I've learned something important through all of this. Wealth isn't measured only in dollars. I am rich in the moments that matter. Tyler's contagious laugh when we have living room dance parties. Emma's thoughtful questions that show how deeply she observes the world. The knowledge that my children feel safe enough with me to be their authentic selves. Rebecca had everything that should have made her happy. Money, status, a beautiful home. But she was chasing something she thought my children could give her, some void they could fill. I hope someday she finds whatever she's looking for. Not for her sake, but because people carrying that kind of emptiness often hurt others in their attempt to fill it. Tonight, our dinner table is covered with art supplies for Emma's school project. The apartment is noisy and cluttered and absolutely perfect. This is wealth, being surrounded by people who see your true self and love you anyway. No court can measure that, and no amount of money can buy it. I close my journal and join my children in the living room, where they're arguing good-naturedly about what movie to watch. Tyler waves me over, saving a spot for me on the couch. Mom, tell Emma we watched her pick last time. Did not, Emma protests, laughing. I settle between them, feeling the warmth of their bodies against mine, the absolute miracle of their presence. How about we compromise? I suggest. As they negotiate, I think about the shadow Rebecca tried to cast over our lives. For a while, it was dark and threatening, making me doubt my own worth as a mother. But shadows only have power in the absence of light. And here, in this small apartment filled with laughter and love and, yes, occasional arguments over movie choices, there is so much light that no shadow, no matter how persistent, could ever truly take hold. Rebecca thought she could replace me by offering material things I couldn't provide. What she never understood was that motherhood isn't a role you can simply step into with the right credentials and resources. It's built day by day, mistake by mistake, love by imperfect love. It's earned in the moments no one sees, midnight fevers and homework frustrations and silent tears wiped away. My children know this, even if they don't have the words for it yet. They know the difference between someone who wants to possess them and someone who would give everything to protect them. They know that love isn't perfect, but it should always be safe. As we finally settle on a movie, a compromise that leaves everyone equally satisfied and dissatisfied, I silently thank Rebecca for teaching us all what really matters. In trying to take my family, she ultimately made us stronger, more united, more certain of what we mean to each other. Some battles leave you weaker, but this one, painful as it was, left us unshakably aware of our worth. Not the worth measured in courtrooms and bank accounts, but the kind that exists in the space between people who choose each other day after day, no matter what. And that, more than any victory in court, is what I'm most grateful for.